A giant spacecraft emerged in the darkness of space, blocking out distant stars like a shadow. It dwarfed every structure humanity had ever constructed. The diplomatic ship from the Valkyrian Empire floated above Earth's moon, its surface etched with glowing purple markings. Within the vessel, Ambassador Zetheril gazed through 3 eyes at the blue world spinning below. "Just another backward planet," he told his aide. His voice rumbled like stones scraping together. "This won't take long. They always bow down when they witness what we can do." Zetheril had repeated this routine countless times. 3 centuries of visiting new civilizations and absorbing them into the Empire. Lesser beings always followed the same pattern. Terror first, then admiration. Finally, surrender. That was how the universe worked. The mighty protected the powerless. The ancient educated the young. The Empire had controlled the galaxy for 10,000 years because this approach succeeded. "Transmit our terms," Zetheril commanded. "Follow the usual procedures. They'll become part of the Empire, send us resources, and halt their wild expansion through space." His aide nodded respectfully and departed. Zetheril reviewed Earth's data files. These humans barely ventured beyond their own world. A handful of settlements existed on neighboring worlds. Their vessels crawled along using basic chemical propulsion. No protective energy fields. Their weaponry was pitiful. They'd stumbled onto faster-than-light technology just 2 decades earlier, purely by chance. "Like toddlers wandering among the stars," he whispered. Down on Earth, warning sirens screamed through government facilities worldwide. Ambassador Maria Chen occupied a conference chamber with 50 officials. Voices overlapped in panic. Wall displays showed the alien craft. It was so enormous that Earth's orbital defense platforms resembled children's toys in comparison. "We must evacuate population centers immediately," one voice demanded. "And we should fire every weapon we possess," another insisted. Maria pressed her fingertips against her temples. 36 hours without sleep were catching up to her. "Everyone stop talking," she said. Her tone remained steady yet firm. Gradually, silence filled the room. "Losing our heads accomplishes nothing." They transmitted a communication. "They're interested in dialogue, so we'll communicate. But what they're asking is," a general began. "Absurd, absolutely," Maria cut in. "They want us absorbed into their empire. They demand we send them tribute payments. They expect us to request authorization before traveling anywhere beyond our system. It's enslavement dressed up in diplomatic language." She rose and faced the room. "However, they're willing to negotiate. That indicates they operate within guidelines. And guidelines can be worked with." Dr. James Park, their alien biology specialist, lifted his hand nervously. He was younger than most present and perpetually anxious. "I've completed my analysis of their physiology from the transmission data. They require oxygen like us. They possess 3 eyes. Their lifespan averages 500 years. They maintain lower body temperatures than humans." He hesitated, appearing uncomfortable. "They reproduce through budding, similar to yeast organisms." Laughter erupted from someone, then spread. Soon half the attendees were suppressing grins. "Control yourselves," Maria said, though she fought her own smile. "Dr. Park, continue. They appear extremely formal and structured. Their entire message follows precise linguistic patterns. I believe their society prioritizes order and custom above all else." Maria acknowledged this with a nod. "Useful information, thank you." She addressed the team. "We'll conduct this meeting at our new orbital station. Yes, I'm aware it's incomplete. Yes, I know the coffee dispenser malfunctions constantly, but it's neutral territory under our jurisdiction. Captain O'Brien will serve as host. Dr. Park provides biological consultation. General Martinez handles protection. I'll negotiate. What approach do we take?" General Martinez inquired. Maria's smile turned sharp. "We present ourselves authentically, completely, truthfully, unmistakably human." Then we observed their response. 3 days passed. Captain Sarah O'Brien waited in the docking section of humanity's latest orbital facility. The station carried the name Hope. It was meant to represent human progress. Currently, it represented human overambition. Half its systems functioned poorly. Artificial gravity fluctuated in certain areas. The interior still reeked of fresh construction materials. O'Brien had dedicated the previous 72 hours to emergency repairs using adhesive tape and desperate prayers. "Station to command," she transmitted through her device. "The Valkyrian transport is closing in. Is everyone prepared?" "As prepared as we'll manage," Maria's voice crackled back. The alien transport connected with a soft thud. Its hatch unsealed with a hissing sound. Vapor poured outward, not ordinary vapor but ceremonial mist. Through the haze, the Valkyrians appeared. They stood incredibly tall. Each figure reached at least 8 feet in height. Their skin resembled grey stone. 3 eyes formed a triangle across their faces. They wore what looked like dark metal plating. Every footfall resonated through the docking area. Ambassador Zetheril advanced. He studied the humans. Tiny beings, fragile, merely 2 eyes, delicate flesh. He prepared to deliver his intimidation address. "Hello, welcome to Hope Station," Maria announced, striding forward with an outstretched palm. "I'm Ambassador Maria Chen. Can I offer you coffee?" Zetheril froze. All 3 eyes blinked in bewilderment. This wasn't following protocol. Where was the terror? Where was the submissive posture? The human was displaying a friendly expression. Before he could formulate a response, a golden shape darted past the human security detail. A canine, an Earth golden retriever called Max, had somehow escaped the residential quarters. The animal bounded directly toward the Valkyrians, tail swinging wildly, tongue lolling. Max leaped upward and planted paws on Zetherill's armor, attempting to lick the ambassador's face. "Max, stop!" O'Brien yelled, chasing after the creature. "Apologies, deeply sorry. He's harmless." Zetheril remained motionless. 300 years of diplomatic experience had never included this scenario. Behind him, a junior aide produced an odd sound. Zetheril needed a moment to identify it. The aide was struggling not to laugh. This assignment would prove far more complex than anticipated. The meeting chamber was Hope Station's most presentable location. That wasn't saying much. The furniture was new, but already bore scratches. The seating was comfortable yet mismatched. The display screen flickered intermittently, but it would suffice. Zetheril occupied one side of the table with his delegation. Maria sat opposite with her team. Between them rested cups of coffee the humans had insisted on providing. The Valkyrians hadn't touched theirs. They couldn't comprehend why humans constantly offered beverages. "Let's commence," Zetheril announced. He placed a data tablet on the surface. "This contains the integration agreement. It's been successfully implemented across 473 worlds. The conditions are standard and fixed. You have 3 days to comply." Maria picked up the tablet. She began reading steadily for 20 minutes. The document contained 500 pages of dense legal terminology. Most civilizations required weeks with entire legal teams to review it. Maria finished in 20 minutes. "So," she said, setting down the device, "in summary, Earth becomes a subordinate state of your empire. We surrender 30% of our resources as payment. We need clearance for any space travel outside our system. Our military gets reduced to peacekeeping forces. You station an overseer here to supervise us. In return, you provide protection and technology." She leaned back. "It's basically servitude with extra paperwork." Zetherill's eyes blinked. "That's a harsh interpretation. We prefer calling it guided integration. Your civilization is young. You require direction. We're managing adequately independently, thanks," Maria replied. "Are you?" Zetheril gestured toward the viewport. "You've barely ventured beyond your system. Your technology lags centuries behind ours. You still burn chemicals for basic propulsion. You lack energy shielding. Your vessels are brittle. Your children stumbling through a dangerous galaxy." "Perhaps," Maria conceded. At that moment, the coffee machine in the corner produced a grinding noise. Then smoke emerged. Then it burst with a pop, spraying coffee across the wall. The humans all sighed as though this was routine. O'Brien grabbed cleaning materials and started wiping. "Sorry about that," Maria said. "Third malfunction this week. We'll repair it eventually." One Valkyrian assistant leaned towards Zetheril. "Ambassador, should their technology concern us?" "No," Zetheril said, though uncertainty crept in. Dr. Park stood nervously. I have a question regarding your reproduction system. You reproduce through budding, correct? A portion of your body develops into a new individual." "Correct," Zetheril confirmed. It's efficient and dependable. Why do you ask? Zetheril confirmed. It's efficient and dependable. Why do you ask? Well, doesn't that mean everyone is essentially a genetic duplicate? No variation. What happens if a disease targets your specific biology? The Valkyrians exchanged glances. Nobody had ever questioned their reproduction before. It was sacred tradition. Our method has functioned for millions of years, Zetheril said coldly. Sure, Park said quickly. I'm just noting that humans reproduce differently. Sexual reproduction. It's messier and more complicated, but it generates genetic variety. Makes us harder to eliminate as a species. Just an observation. The room fell silent. Maria kicked Park beneath the table. Zetherill's stone-like expression showed no emotion, but his eyes narrowed slightly. Let's continue, Zetheril said. You'll sign this agreement. This is unavoidable. All civilizations join the Empire eventually. What if we refuse? Maria asked. Then we compel you through force, if required. So you'll attack us. We'll do whatever maintains galactic stability. Maria leaned forward. Ambassador, may I speak frankly? Please do. We've studied your empire over 3 days. Your public records are remarkably detailed. You control 473 worlds, but your military is stretched thin. You're engaged in border disputes with 3 rival empires. Your economy is strained. 40% of your subject worlds are behind on tribute. You're experiencing civil unrest on 12 planets. And your emperor faces succession challenges, Maria smiled. You need us more than we need you. Zetheril stood abruptly. His chair scraped loudly. How dare you? I'm not trying to offend you, Maria said calmly. I'm trying to negotiate honestly. You arrived expecting surrender, expecting fear. But we researched thoroughly. We know you're powerful. We also know you're not invincible. So instead of this integration nonsense, why don't we discuss a genuine partnership? Trade, cooperation, alliance, partnership with primitives? We prefer eager newcomers, O'Brien interjected from her cleaning position. One human guard yawned. He'd been awake too long. To the Valkyrians, this was shocking. How could someone yawn during such crucial negotiations? Your people display no respect, Zetheril declared. We show respect to those who earn it, Maria responded. Respect isn't granted because someone is old or powerful. It must be earned. The meeting continued another 2 hours. The humans questioned everything in the contract. They identified loopholes. They highlighted contradictions. They proposed alternatives. The Valkyrians had never encountered this before. Most species were too frightened to argue. Finally, Zetheril stood. We'll take a break. This isn't proceeding as expected. Take whatever time you need, Maria said. We're not going anywhere. The Valkyrians exited the conference chamber. They walked through the station corridors. In one room, they observed humans exercising. 2 ran on stationary machines. It appeared torturous, yet they smiled. Why run if nothing pursues them? Asked a young Valkyrian diplomat. I have no explanation, Zetheril admitted. In another room, someone had left a viewing screen active. It displayed an Earth-Nature program. On screen, a human chased an animal. The narrator explained that early humans hunted by pursuing prey for hours until the creature collapsed from exhaustion. They chased their food until it died from exhaustion? A Vulcarian security officer looked disturbed. What kind of predator does that? A persistent one, Zetheril said quietly. They passed a fitness area where Captain O'Brien was arm-wrestling a crew member. The Valkyrian security officer watched. He was trained in combat. He was strong. I could defeat her easily, he said. Then prove it, O'Brien called out. She'd heard him. Come on, big guy. Show me what you've got. 5 minutes later, the Valkyrian security officer stared at his hand in disbelief. O'Brien had won. A creature half his size had won. Good match, O'Brien said, patting his arm. You almost had me. The security officer looked at Zetheril. Ambassador, these humans, they're not what we anticipated. No, Zetheril agreed. They're not. That night, Zetheril couldn't enter his meditation state. He kept thinking about the humans. They were weak, yet unafraid. They were primitive, yet not foolish. They were strange in ways he couldn't explain. For the first time in 3 centuries, Ambassador Zetheril felt uncertain. and uncertainty, he was learning, was a very human thing to experience. Day 2 of negotiations began differently. The humans arrived with breakfast. They brought pastries, fruit, and coffee. Always coffee. The Valkyrians were beginning to realize that humans operated on coffee like ships operated on fuel. "Good morning," Maria said cheerfully. "We have a counter-proposal for you." Zetheril had slept poorly. The station's air was too warm for comfort. The gravity felt slightly wrong, and he couldn't stop thinking about yesterday. "A counter-proposal? You're in no position to make demands." "Sure we are," Maria said. She placed her data tablet on the surface. "We propose a mutual trade agreement, technology exchange, open borders for commerce, joint scientific research, military cooperation against shared threats. You know, like equals." The Valkyrians looked at the document. Then they laughed. It was the first time humans heard them laugh. It sounded like grinding rocks. "You think you're our equals?" Zetheril said. "You have nothing we want. Your technology is primitive. Your resources are limited. What can you possibly offer?" Maria's smile remained. "Let me show you something." She displayed a presentation on the screen. "This is our analysis of the Valkyrian Empire. We've been busy." For the next hour, Maria showed them everything. Maps of trade routes with inefficiencies highlighted. Military deployments with gaps explained. Economic data predicting a recession within 2 years if current trends continued. Internal political struggles they believed were secret. "How?" Zetheril whispered. "How do you know all this?" "Your public records are extremely detailed," Maria said. "We just had to read them, all of them, analyze them and cross-reference them. We've had teams working continuously for 3 days. That's impossible. There are millions of documents." Dr. Park raised his hand. "We're very good at not sleeping. Coffee helps. Also, we invented computers specifically because we're lazy and wanted machines to do boring work." One Valkyrian assistant leaned close to Zetheril. "Ambassador, this is concerning. They learned everything about us in 3 days. What else are they capable of?" Zetheril called for a break. He needed to think. He needed to report this to the Empire. The humans weren't behaving according to any pattern he knew. During the break, a young Valkyrian diplomat named Velnor wandered from the group. She was curious about these strange beings. She found a lounge where some humans were relaxing. One watched something on a screen. "What is that?" Velnor asked. The human looked up. "Oh, hello! It's a nature documentary about honey badgers." "Want to watch?" Velnor sat. She watched as the small earth creature fought animals much larger than itself. She watched as it was stung by hundreds of bees, but kept going. She watched as it refused to give up regardless of circumstances. "This animal is insane," Velnor said. "Yeah," the human agreed happily. "They're awesome. They just don't care about anything. They see something they want, and they go get it. Nothing stops them. This is considered admirable on your world." "Absolutely. We respect determination. Never giving up, pushing through pain. That's a core human value." Velnor thought about this. The Valkyrian way was different. They valued order, efficiency, logic. This persistence seemed wasteful, but also impressive. She learned more as she talked to the human. She learned that humans had gone to space using chemical rockets. They'd strapped themselves to controlled explosions and hoped for the best. She learned that before humans had proper spaceflight, they had world wars. They'd invented nuclear weapons before leaving their planet. You had weapons that could destroy your entire world, and you still kept fighting each other. Velnor was shocked. "Yeah, we almost wiped ourselves out a few times," the human admitted. "But we learned from it eventually. We're slow learners, but we get there." Velnor returned to Zetheril and reported what she'd learned. The ambassador's 3 eyes widened with each new piece of information. They used controlled explosions for spaceflight. "Yes, Ambassador." "They had planet-destroying weapons before achieving peace?" "Yes, Ambassador." "They hunted by chasing prey until it died from exhaustion." "That too, Ambassador." Zetheril sat slowly. "What kind of civilization does these things?" "A terrifying one," said his security officer, "or an incredibly brave one. I can't decide which." That evening, something interrupted negotiations. An alarm rang through the station. O'Brien's voice came over speakers. "All personnel to stations. We have a distress call. Pirate attack on Colony Transport 7. Civilians in danger." Zetheril stood immediately. We'll dispatch a warship. It will arrive in 6 hours. 6 hours? Maria was already moving. Those people don't have 6 hours. We're going now, but your ships aren't combat ready. You have no weapons capable of— Watch us, Maria said. Aren't combat ready. You have no weapons capable of— Watch us, Maria said. Within 15 minutes, 3 human ships launched from Hope Station. They were small. They were built for mining, not fighting. But they were fast and crewed by humans who had that same look Zetheril had seen in the Honey Badger documentary. The Valkyrians watched from Hope Station's command center. They watched as the human ships approached the pirate vessel. The pirates had better weapons, better shields, better everything. This should have been a massacre. Instead, they watched humans do what humans do best. They improvised. One ship used its mining laser to cut through the pirates' shield generator. Another ship rammed the pirate vessel's engine. The third ship somehow hacked the pirates' communication system and started playing loud earth music to confuse them. What are they doing? Velnor asked. I have no idea, Zetheril admitted. They watched as human soldiers in basic spacesuits boarded the pirate ship. They had no advanced weapons. They had cutting tools and determination. They fought through corridors. They rescued the civilians. They even captured most pirates alive. Why didn't they eliminate the pirates? Asked the security officer. I think they want to question them, O'Brien said. She watched with arms crossed and a proud smile. That's very human. We always try talking first. Well, sometimes during, occasionally after. The human ships returned to Hope Station with all civilians safe. The pirates were in custody. Total operation time, 45 minutes. The rescued colonists came onto the station crying and embracing their rescuers. Then someone produced alcohol. Someone else produced music. Within an hour, a party had started in the main hangar. Come on, O'Brien grabbed Zetherill's arm. You need to experience this. Experience what? A human celebration. Before he could protest, Zetheril was pulled into the party. There was loud music. People were dancing. Someone handed him a glass of something that burned his throat. Humans were laughing and telling stories about the rescue mission, like it had been enjoyable. You almost died, Zetheril said to one pilot. Yeah, the pilot agreed happily. But we didn't. That's worth celebrating. A young colonist approached Zetheril. Thank you for being here. I heard you were going to send help too. Yes, we would have arrived in 6 hours. Well, I'm glad the humans got there first. No offense. Zetheril watched the party. He watched humans celebrate their near-death experience. He watched them dance and sing and be alive with an intensity he'd never witnessed in any species. Maria appeared beside him with 2 glasses. Here, try this. It's called whiskey. Zetheril took the glass. He sipped carefully. It burned, but not unpleasantly. Why do you celebrate like this? You could have died. Because we didn't die, Maria said simply. We looked at danger and said, not today. That's worth celebrating. Every day we survive, every problem we solve, every person we save, it all matters. Life is short and dangerous and beautiful, so we celebrate it. For the first time in decades, Zetheril felt something strange. He felt his facial muscles moving in an unfamiliar way. He was smiling, actually smiling. You're insane, he told Maria. Yeah, she agreed. But it's enjoyable. You should try it. The party continued late into the station's artificial night cycle. Zetheril found himself sitting at a table with several humans and Velnor. The music was quieter now. People were telling stories. So there I was, O'Brien was saying, stuck on the moon with a broken oxygen tank and 3 hours of air left. The rescue ship was 4 hours away. How did you survive? Velnor asked. Duct tape in a plastic bag. I made a seal around the leak and breathed slowly. Really slowly, O'Brien laughed. When they found me, I was blue in the face but alive. The engineer couldn't believe my repair held. You trusted your life to tape and plastic? Zetheril was horrified. Didn't have much choice. It was that or die, O'Brien shrugged. Sometimes the best solution is the simple one. We over-engineer everything because we want backups for our backups. But when things go wrong, we go back to basics. A young human named Jackson leaned forward. Want to hear the best story? Tell them about the Mars colony, Dr. Park. Dr. Park looked embarrassed. Oh, that's not... Tell them. several humans said at once. Park sighed. Fine. So the first Mars colony had a crisis. The water recycling system broke. Completely broke. We had 3 days of water left and no way to fix it. The replacement parts were 2 weeks away. What did you do? Velnor was on the edge of her seat. We used beer-making equipment, Park said. One colonist was a hobby brewer. Turns out the fermentation tanks could be modified to purify water. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. We survived on beer-maker water until the parts arrived. The Valkyrians stared, then started laughing. Actually laughing. Not the grinding sound from before, but genuine laughter. Soon,